Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Mekamek. This is Elton Manor, Requiem of the Cursed Roses demo. I was pretty sure it was the demo when I picked it up. I hope it's the demo. This is another thing from my Steam Explore that grabbed attention enough to be worth a let's try. Oh, it popped something up on the screen and I didn't get a chance to see it. Well, I see it saying hatred. Hate? I hated everything about this place. Anger. I felt angry at my incompetence. Unresigned. I wanted to leave, to get out of here. Why? I was only one step away. And who was calling me? Anna. Anna, wake up! What came into view was the familiar ceiling. I suddenly woke up in bed to find my roommate's face right in front of me. I came to my senses and moved back a little. What happened to you? Are you okay?
夢を見ていただけ。
Ah, so it does actually have voices. But they aren't English voices, so I don't know how much I'll need to say anything. There was a hint of moisture in the corner of my eye. I raised my hand to wipe it and found that I was actually crying. I've been calling your name, but I don't know why I couldn't wake you up. You were struggling in bed, mumbling something. Even when I got close, I couldn't hear it clearly. My roommate kept talking to me, and it took her a while to realize that I didn't answer. She fell silent for a few seconds, then asked cautiously, Was it a nightmare?
そうかも。
I met her slightly worried gaze and forced a small smile.
先に行ってて。僕も着替えたら行く。また遅刻したらメイド長に怒られるよ。
This'll be my third time being late this month. If I'm late again, she'll definitely nag me. I'll be leaving now. Hannah, you should hurry over too. I watched my clumsy roommate leave, then lifted the blanket and got out of bed. My legs suddenly felt weak. I grabbed the bread frame to steady myself and avoid falling. I couldn't remember what my dream was about, or perhaps it didn't have any real content. The only thing left was the unknown emotion that did not dissipate with the dream. After I changed my clothes, I didn't rush to the headmaid's office immediately. Standing in the sun, I let the warm sunlight fall over me. Only this could ease the inexplicable uneasiness in my heart. After a while, once I felt a bit warmer, I finally went to report in. I could see the headmaid's impatient expression from a distance. Seeing me running toward her, she was about to scold me, but when I got closer, her expression suddenly changed as she looked over my face. Are you feeling unwell? The same question again. It seemed my face must have been visibly pale.
大丈夫です。もう休ませていただきました。
Fine, then go clean the lobby. Seemingly worried, she gave me a few more instructions. You're usually a good girl. I know you wouldn't be late without reason. If you're still not feeling well, you can take the day off today.
わかりました。ありがとうございます。
I didn't want to receive too much attention. Because I usually worked hard, I was often praised by the headmaid and given special treatment, which had caused resentment among the others. I'd heard them call me the gloomy one in private. I wasn't very good at talking to begin with, and my relationship with others have become even more strained. Only that airheaded roommate was willing to talk to me. I didn't really mind, but it still bothered me that my already poor relationship with others might get worse because of the headmaid's extra attention. The villa was very large, and usually there was only one person in charge of one place. There were countless tasks to be done. I came to the empty kitchen. This place was not often used. Most of the time it was used to store rice jars. I soon saw the target's antenna waving at me as if provoking me. Each act has 2 time slots in which you can work. Working can increase the maid's honor value. As maid's honor increases, some hidden plots will be unlocked, according to the maid's honor value and the axe. The types of minigames will also increase with the axe. There is a chance to get a bonus after completing the work, which may affect the main storyline. If you slack off too often, the head maid might notice you. Click work now and try it out. Please kill them within 15 seconds. Done it! Some of them aren't giving you very long to catch them. Okay, we got 13 cockroaches and got 10 to our maid's honor. Before I knew it, I had finished the Whoops. I think I scrolled through the text too quickly. Rest can restore the number of work slots. You can only rest once per act. If you slack off often, the head maid will find out. So apparently this is a type of detective game? Info. Anna... a maid at Leicester Manor. Roommate... and his roommate an optimistic and cheerful girl. Head maid, the head maid of Elton Manor, usually cold and serious. We missed one! Okay, let's just explore then. As acts progress, the different locations in the villa will gradually unlock. You can click on these unlocked locations to explore more content. There may be NPCs appearing at each location. You might get some interesting information if you talk to them. If you see a character's profile at a location, that means this location is a key point in the main storyline. Click on the profile picture, you'll enter the main storyline and proceed in the story. I was alone in the empty lobby. After looking around, I began cleaning. Seemed like I hadn't seen the master for a long time. I looked upon the portrait hanging in the centre. It was a woman in court clothing. Though she was smiling in the portrait, there seemed to be an indelible sadness between her brows. She was the previous mistress of this manor. The owner of this villa was a man named Elton Lester, a businessman who travelled the world. It was said that in his early years he passed through this place on business, discovered its commercial value, and decided to settle here. He then bought this remote island in Chiayi and built a luxurious villa. His first wife had been with him since he had nothing. Unfortunately, although she liked children very much, she was unable to have them. To keep her from feeling sad about it, he adopted 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. The family of 5 lived a simple and cozy life. When the children grew up, they gradually left and went to live in different countries. Later, his first wife died of illness. Elton nearly broke down and fell into despair. From then on, he locked himself in his room all day long and refused to see anyone, even when his children came to visit him. Until recently, by chance, he met his current wife, and gradually recovered from the pain of losing his beloved wife, eventually marrying her as his second wife. I looked at the portrait and my movements slowed down without me noticing. Didn't think much of the story, but the beautiful and elegant woman in the painting still made me feel a sense of regret. Well, that's spooky.
この絵、今動いた。
I was so scared that I staggered and took several steps back. Quickly shook my head and looked up at the portrait again. It looked the same as before. The woman in the smile still had a gentle smile.
疲れてて見間違えたんだろう。
Perhaps what happened was too strange. Even though I kept telling myself it was nothing, I still didn't want to stay here any longer. After quickly finishing the cleaning, I went to the kitchen to prepare lunch for the lady of the house. The current lady of the house was named Elizabeth, a very young woman. From the moment she appeared, she became the topic of conversation among the servants. They all said she had deliberately approached the master and married him for his wealth. Would someone really fall in love with a man who's old enough to be her father? They all scoffed at it. But she was very patient in dealing with people and her behaviour showed that she was well educated. These negative comments gradually disappeared as people interacted with her daily. At this moment she was wearing an exquisite dress, chatting and laughing with the head maid while still waiting for the maids to bring the dishes to the table. Wait, that blue-haired one. Huh, did she mean me? After serving the dishes, the servants had to leave so as not to disturb them while they ate. As I was about to leave, she suddenly called out to me. Come here, let me have a look at you. I walked up to her under everyone's gaze, looking confused and bowed slightly.
何かご用でしょうか?
Nothing, I just noticed someone quite pleasing to the eye and wanted to take a closer look. My heart was not as calm as I appeared. My hands clasped in front of me nervously gripped my apron. She looked at me with a teasing gaze and her words made me tense. After a while, seeing I didn't react, she waved me away. I let out a sigh of relief, quickly bowed, then turned and walked toward the lounge. By the way, the master's children and their families will be coming back soon. Really, it's going to get lively here. The only people in the whole villa besides us are the master and his wife. I guess those maids aren't going to be important enough to have their own... No, that's not who I'm... Okay, we're not allowed to look at anyone but roommate. Well, no, actually we just aren't allowed to look at the lady of the house. Yeah, it's boring. I can finally see different faces. We have maids going all the way to I, really? Rumors 1. Okay, so we can check out our rumors in the exquisite detail here. The owner of this villa was called Elton Lester, a businessman who travelled around the world. It was said that he had passed by this place, Okay, so that's basically the whole story a second time. Tips. Okay, don't look too carefully at that, it might be spoilers. By the way, hasn't the master not come out for a long time? The maids were chatting about something, but I didn't join in. I ate mechanically, the food tasted like cardboard, and my mind was filled with the strange sight of the painting. Even though I kept telling myself it was just an illusion, I still couldn't fully convince myself. I came here because I wanted to see the young master. I heard he's really handsome. It was only when I came here that I learned he was abroad. Wow, what a shallow reason. What's wrong with getting paid to work while looking at handsome guys? That's true, but I left the big city to work here because of the high salary. My parents sent me here. They provide food and lodging, so it's pretty good. If the young master takes a liking to me, maybe I could become his wife and never have to work again. Lol, what are you daydreaming about? You haven't even seen him yet. Even if he did take a liking to someone, it would probably be you-know-who. One of the maids looked in my direction, but I didn't notice that their conversation had shifted to me. Yeah, the lady even kept her here just now. She must have caught her attention. So envious! Okay, stop making things difficult for her. Speaking of which, Anna, why are you working here? Suddenly someone tapped me on the shoulder and my roommate sat down next to me.
ああ、そうだな。
Speaking of which, why did I come here? Is there a... With 3 unbroken lines of ... Why? Why indeed? Yeah, why? I had no memory of this. This thought made me feel as if cold water was poured over me from head to toe, followed by a chill that penetrated my bones. Was I here because of my family? No. Who was my family? I didn't know. How long had I been here? I didn't know. My name was Anna. What was my last name? I didn't know. I didn't know. Cold sweat broke out on my forehead. My breathing quickened and I stared blankly at the people in front of me. At that moment, their faces became blurred and I couldn't make out their features. This morning's dream, that strange painting, the distorted faces before my eyes, all of it flashed repeatedly through my mind like a slideshow. Hey, are you okay? Screaming noises. I heard others screaming before I passed out and lost consciousness. Everything returned to darkness. It was already night when I woke up. When I opened my eyes, my vision was focused on the dim ceiling. You finally woke up! I heard my roommate's voice from beside me. I held my forehead and sat up. She let out a sigh of relief when she saw I was awake.
僕、気を失ったの。
Yeah, you really scared me to death. We had to rush to carry you back.
ありがとう。
Really, you should have just asked the head maid for a day off. Why are you forcing yourself? You work hard enough normally anyway. I couldn't help but smile as I watched her nagging and complaining about me. It felt good to be cared for by others. You're even laughing. I'm worried about you. But you seem to be feeling better. Why don't you just take a shower and go back to sleep? I heard my roommate's voice from beside me. I held my forehead and sat up. She lifted up.
そうする。
Yeah, we are having a bit of a problem. Where certain lines repeat. So, yeah, it's a good thing that this is a demo. It gives them time to polish out little repeats like this. I took off my clothes and put them aside. The air was filled with steam and the bathtub was already filled with hot water. It seemed that my roommate had prepared it for me in advance. There was a half-length mirror in front of me with a layer of fog on it. I wiped its surface gently and looked at myself in the mirror. The face reflected in it looked tired. So many strange things had happened today. It felt as though, if only by looking at myself like this I could feel a little more real. Suddenly, if seeing something, the pupils of the person in the mirror suddenly dilated and her gaze slowly moved downward. What was that? I don't care what they mean by elephant. Ah. Oh. Apparently, Anna forgot that she is actually a boy. The shock of this discovery far exceeded anything that had happened today. Making a lot of noise in the bathroom. Anna, are you alright?
なんでもない。ちょっと物を倒しちゃっただけ。
Open the door.
本当に大丈夫だから。
I quickly grabbed a towel. As I was figuring out where to wrap it, my roommate was already banging on the door. I gritted my teeth, wrapped it around my waist, and opened the door. Are you alright? I turned away guiltily, not daring to look at her.
ちょっと物を倒しただけだから。
I caught her strange look in the mirror, shuddered and looked away.
もういいから出てってよ。お風呂入りたい。
Huh? Wow, I never realized this before, but your breasts are so flat, Anna. Help. I can't believe it. Wow, your breasts are the flattest I've ever seen.
離して。
It all happened so suddenly. By the time I reacted, I pushed her a few times, but she clung to me and wouldn't budge, afraid of touching somewhere I shouldn't. I didn't know what to do. You're really as flat as a boy. I guess you'd only be able to get away with this for this amount of time, but she was a little bit dense, but still. She ran her hands over me a few more times. I was still struggling, my heart jumping in shock. If we hadn't been roommates for so long, I would have suspected something. It's a pity there are no other men here except the master and the butler.
そんな失礼なこと言っちゃダメだよ。
Okay, I'm going to go out now. Call me if you need anything. I don't know if I was imagining it, but I thought I saw a hint of regret in her eyes. So, one thing that I do remember from the trailer, and I left out of my opening spiel for this, is that this is considered a boys' love, as well as a mystery. So, we're going to be getting with some boys. After making sure she had left, I locked the door again and couldn't help squatting on the floor, holding my head as I fell into thought. What was going on? Why was I here when I'm a man? For so long, no one else had noticed anything strange. Even I had only just discovered. No wonder I kept feeling a little tight. Looking back now, I had no recollection of anything. I had been going with the flow for so many days. What on earth was I doing? I took a deep breath and decided to ask my roommate about it after my bath. Now you're done, it's my turn.
うん。床が濡れてるから気をつけて。
I was about to say my roommate's name when I suddenly froze. What was her name? I sat on the bed in a daze, searching for her name in my mind, my thoughts all over the place. It wasn't until she came back out of the bath and waved her hand in front of me that I came back to my senses. I hadn't realized I'd been sitting there staring blankly for so long.
ごめん。名前をど忘れしちゃって。
I didn't think I had forgotten these things, but that something had affected my memory of everything. I don't know how to explain it to her, but asking something like this, forgetting my own roommate's name, she would probably be upset. You're really not feeling well to forget something like that. It's Amy. My name is Amy. If you ask me again, I'll get mad. My roommate smiled brightly, and just like my impression of her, she was still so optimistic.
エイミーはここに来てどれくらい？
About 1 or 2 years, or 2 or 3 years, I can't remember clearly. The girl looked distressed. She scratched her head and seemed to be stumped by this simple question.
僕、普段どんな感じ？
Well, you don't really interact with other people. You don't seem very approachable. But after spending time with you, I realized you're actually quite nice, not as cold as you seem. Was that so? To be honest, my impression of Amy was just that she was optimistic, which made it feel like that was her whole identity. An optimistic girl, my roommate, somewhat careless but well-liked. I couldn't think of anything else, and even the details of our time together were blurry. I asked again, this time turning the subject back to her.
そんなに長くここにいて、家族が恋しくならない？
My family? Now you mentioned that. I just remembered it's been a while since I last saw my parents and my sister. Amy's smile froze instantly. Sister or brother? Dad, Mum, me? I can't seem to remember what they look like. Why can't I remember, Anna? Why can't I remember them? What are my dad's name, my mum's name, my sister or brother's name? been here so long, they haven't even contacted me. This feels so strange. What's going on? Amy suddenly broke down, grabbing her hair in distress, catching me off guard. I quickly stepped forward to comfort her, and a trace of guilt rose in my heart, which I quickly suppressed. Even if I had another chance, I would still ask this question. I had to know more to confirm my suspicion.
きっと仕事で疲れてて一時的に思い出せないだけだよ。僕だってさっきエイミーの名前を忘れてたし。エイミーの家族もきっとエイミーみたいに可愛いんだろうな。落ち着いて。一晩寝たらきっと元に戻るから。
Really?
本当だよ。保証する。もう泣かないで。そんなに泣いたら顔がパンダみたいになっちゃうよ。
With my comfort, she gradually stopped crying, but her fingers still fidgeted unconsciously. Anna, I'm sorry. I just don't know why I got so worked up. Feels like I forgot a lot of important things.
まずは寝よ。明日も仕事なんだし。またメイド長に怒られたくないでしょ。大丈夫。僕がここにいるから。
I patted her shoulder and she immediately climbed onto the bed. I walked over and pulled the covers over her. Yes. It's really reassuring to have you here, Anna. You're right. How could something so strange happen? I must have just been out of it from work. She put on a smile again and put the questions behind her. She was indeed an optimistic girl.
寝て寝て。目が覚めたら、きっともう大丈夫だよ。
I kept repeating this sentence, saying it to her and to myself. So I think the hook, it was nothing more than a self-deception. I think the hook of this is, okay, what's just going on because there's something supernatural going on. But I think there is also some murder mystery elements to it. It was that voice I heard in my dream yesterday. It was still that young man. He was enveloped in a soft white light. I couldn't see his face clearly. Was that me? Why did you wake up so early? You have a day off today. Why don't you sleep in a little longer?
仕方ないよ。体が勝手にこの時間に目覚めちゃうんだから。
I got up earlier than you today. I still have some time before I have to go to work. Finally, I don't have to be scolded. I turned my head to look at her, feeling a bit suspicious. Since I noticed those strange things, I haven't been able to calm down. But the girl in front of me looked full of energy and was not affected at all by what happened last night. Perhaps my gaze was too obvious, and Amy touched her cheek awkwardly. Is there something on my face?
うん。エイミー、大丈夫？
Huh? That's strange. Why would there be anything wrong with me?
昨日の夜、ちょっと情緒不安定になってて。でも今はもう平気そうだね。
Huh? Did something happen last night? It had only been one day and she had forgotten. Or was she deliberately avoiding?
昨日の夜、一緒に話してたよね。ほら、話してた時、エイミーすごく辛そうな顔をしてたから。
Did that happen? I remember you were already asleep when I came out of the bath. I stared at her carefully, not missing an expression on her face. But Amy's bewildered look didn't seem fake. There was no reason for her to lie to me. Then it could only be that her memory was altered. Just like automatically fixing errors. Anna, are you really okay? Why do you still seem off today? Do you have a fever? You're starting to talk nonsense.
なんでもない。多分、昔のことと勘違いしてたのかも。
She looked a little concerned, approached me and raised her hand to touch my forehead. You're not warm. Anna, maybe you should lie down and get some rest. I quickly moved her hand away. Ever since I found out my real gender, I feel uncomfortable having such close contact with the opposite sex. But I was afraid this would make her think I was avoiding her. After thinking for a moment, I hesitantly placed my hand on her shoulder.
本当に大丈夫。今日はちゃんと休むから。先に行って。せっかく早起きしたんだから、メイド長にいいところ見せないと。
Oh yeah, then I'll go now. See you later. Amy skipped out of the room, her ponytail swaying behind her ears. She waved at me and closed the door. The moment the door closed, the room, which had been full of energy, suddenly fell silent. When her footsteps gradually faded away, I fell back on the bed. I do need to find a point to cut this episode, this Let's Try short, and I don't think we're going to get a much better time than now, so... Until next time, guys, take care. I'll see you all around.